Knowing how to do something for yourself gives kids a great sense of self-worth. It increases their confidence in undescribable ways. Why? Just because they can learn it when they're older. Why would we steal that opportunity from our kids to build their confidence because they feel competent in doing real, authentic tasks? Okay. When my daughter, Leah, cooks, you can see the confidence in her. You can see the confidence spilling over into other areas of her life. As a kids cooking teacher since 2016 and the founder of the Life Skills Now summer camp, I have heard it all. I've heard all the moms say what I call the mom refrain. It's quicker and easier to do it myself. It's quicker and easier to do it myself, right? Like millions of people say that and feel it. I feel it. It's true, actually. It is quicker and easier to do it yourself when it comes to teaching skills like cooking and chores, cleaning that bathroom, organizing your bedroom, right? Remembering when to do something in a calendar. It is today quicker and easier to do it ourselves. But for the long term, which is, actually how I want to parent, I would like to raise adults. I would like to raise children who will turn into lovely, responsible, independent, healthy adults, not just kids who are like behaving today or a house that looks great today. It's all about the long term for me, even though that is harder, that's harder. I have heard it all. Yes, all the parents say it's quicker and easier to do it myself. And that's true. But there are many, many myths and arguments and problematic people who sometimes aren't using their common sense and sometimes are speaking from a place of frustration or hurt or overwhelm. And we need some excuses. So for both the trolls on social media, those keyboard warriors who are trying to cause problems, and the parents who are just feeling a little stuck, I'm going to share 5 arguments against teaching chores and life skills to kids and my counter arguments. So the first one, and this is the social media trolls. I don't think like truly well-meaning parents think this, but maybe. I've had people say to me, basically, Katie, you're making your kids into slaves. Like they're just worker bees to you if you think you're going to teach them chores and then have them do your work for you. You are just lazy. Use that word, lazy. I'm like, what? Okay, counter argument. No way. It's actually much harder in the moment and even in the, short term, multiple moments. It is much harder to teach a child to do a chore, whether that's washing dishes, cleaning the toilet, or putting their stuffed animals away. Much harder to do that than to do it ourselves. Like literally, I could pick up a stuffed animal, I could set it in the bin, or I could tell my 8-year-old to do it and watch him as he walks backward and sideways and does a little kick line and picks up his stuffy and hugs it. Like one task, one stuffed animal. Watching him put it away takes longer than me just doing it, right? It is 100% harder to teach them to do it themselves, but it is for their own good in the long run. We are not being lazy parents, and we are not just looking for, our children to push our chores off on. That is ridiculous. Yes, I do say that I prefer to share responsibility in the household, but it's shared. I always want to make sure that my kids also see me doing work, and they certainly know that I am not lazy. For example, my oldest son, Paul, he's 17. He's a senior. He is almost out of this house, feeling all the feels about that. I mean, actually, he might take a gap year, so he might stay in this house, which will be a whole new phase of parenting, by the way. Teaching him to use a calendar, I kid you not, teaching him to use a calendar well, like as he was, kind of getting his own schedule and entering into high school, you know what I mean? Like needing to remember that Monday night is garbage night, for example. Teaching him to use that calendar was like using a machete to crash through the thickest jungle forest in the highest humidity with all the bugs and mosquitoes for like 3 years. It just felt like we were never going to get out of this dense forest. Like again, like a ball has been dropped. Again, we have to remind him to put the thing in the calendar so that we all know it's happening. Like really, really difficult. And suddenly, we come to a clearing. He's a senior. His calendar is more packed than ever before. And he's really, really good really good at remembering things, putting them in the calendar, getting to places on time. It is like a miracle. And it is so worth it because imagine if he had graduated high school without learning that skill, went off to college. Like, imagine all the things he would miss if his parents hadn't been crashing through the jungle trying to help him out, right? If we had been doing it for him until he left for school. No, that would have been a huge problem and worse for everyone in the long run, and actually harder for him in the long run. So I would rather me do the hard work by teaching them to do the hard things when they're under my roof, and I can help them as they make those mistakes. I just heard a great story from one of our awesome camp leaders from last year's Life Skills Now summer camp. Katie Wells taught kids how to clean up their bedrooms in 5 minutes a day. And she had one of the members of her own community had her son, who was like 8 or 10, I think, watch this workshop, learn how to clean his room. And she said, she like wrote to Katie Wells. She said, I I have been teaching and not teaching, sorry. I've been telling my kids to clean their rooms for years, and I never even realized that I didn't give them a plan. I didn't give them a process. I didn't actually teach them how to do it. I just tossed them to the wolves. Like, I just said, go clean your room. So of course they don't know what they're doing. Of course I'm not happy with the results. They learned, this little boy learned from Katie Wells, the decluttering expert at Maximize Minimalist, how to clean his room, how to do it well, and how to do a 5-minute daily reset. And this mom said for 30 days, he has been keeping his room in a nice, neat order. And mom was amazed. Again, you got to teach the skill, and then the children can do it themselves. I had this similar experience just this past weekend. We were doing family chores, and my 8-year-old son, for some reason, he thinks cleaning the toilets is the coolest thing. I think it's because the big kids don't do it. That's like the one thing I said, oh, guys, like mom can do this, for now. So he signed up on our little checklist to clean all 3 toilets. And he said, mom, I think I'll still need your help. I said, yeah, probably. It's because I had taught him like once or twice, right? Which again, doubled or tripled the time it would have taken me to do it myself for sure. So what we did this time was kind of a doing with. So I didn't touch, I didn't help with my hands. I just reminded him of what to do. And I asked him questions, right? What's next? And hey, buddy, if you squirt really close, with the cleaner, if you squirt really close to the toilet, it's kind of making puddles. If you get farther away, it spreads it out, just giving him tips. And it was so lovely. So he cleaned the toilets, took twice as long as I would have, but at the same time, I was then doing counters and sinks. And I think in one bathroom, he took a little longer. I was doing the floor too. And I thought that was beautiful. And we were chit-chatting. We were having a good time. Nobody was complaining about doing their chores. That was a big thing in my house. Yes, my kids still complain about doing their chores. But ultimately, it was a very positive result. Everything got clean in all 3 bathrooms. And we had a really good bonding time. So, argument, you're making your kids into slaves and being lazy, justifiably false. Throw that one out the window. Argument number 2 is people have said this to me on social media. Yeah, but it's like not that hard to learn how to clean a toilet or do laundry once you're an adult. It took me like 10 minutes to learn to do laundry. Okay, first of all, in my counter argument, there are so many ways to screw up doing laundry. There's no way you can learn to do it well in 10 minutes. So that's just me like being a little bit sassy. Here's the thing. If it's not that hard to learn when you're an adult, it's also not that hard to learn when you're a child. And there is an added benefit beyond just knowing the procedural points of doing a skill. Knowing how to do something for yourself gives kids a great sense of self-worth. It increases their confidence in undescribable ways. Why? Just because they can learn it when they're older. Why would we steal that opportunity from our kids to build their confidence because they feel competent in doing real, authentic tasks? Okay. When my daughter, Leah, cooks, you can see the confidence in her. You can see the confidence spilling over into other areas of her life. And one of the phrases that my kids often say when it comes to cooking, packing lunches, lots of the things that we do that we know are a little bit out of the mainstream, we know are a little bit beyond sort of the norm. It's a little bit above expectation. They often say, all ages of my kids, especially when they're younger, they'll say, I bet other kids in my class can't do this, right? I bet other kids in my class don't know how to make homemade dressing. I bet other kids in my class aren't allowed to cross the road by themselves or whatever it may be. I love raising the bar, and they feel it. They feel and they speak and express that confidence boost. It's so, so good. So sure, fine. Maybe it's not that hard to learn to clean a toilet. But again, why would we steal the opportunity to boost our kids' confidence in doing tasks that really matter? Argument number 3. Now, those are kind of the first two were kind of my internet trolls. Argument number 3 comes from a lot of well-meaning parents and a lot of well-meaning adults. And I see there's a lot of truth in it. This argument is that kids just need to play, Katie. Kids just need to play. They need to have their free time. They just need to play. We don't need to teach our kids these boring things. They'll have plenty of time to do that when they're adults. And you know what? The counterpoint is yes, kids do need to play. But I'm going to take out the word just. It's not that kids just need to play. It's honestly that kids need balance. Yes, kids need to play. Yes, kids need chores and responsibility. Yes, kids need some structure in their lives and some boundaries. Okay? If we think about just playing, there's a lot of learning that is done when kids play. And if you watch little kids play, they actually will play at work, play at their work, right? They will make work into play. They'll make chores into play. They can enjoy doing, chore type tasks, and they will play as if they are working because they're mimicking what they see in us. And so, a lot of times through that play, kids find things that they enjoy. And so when we think about the end of childhood, oh, so sad, all the feels. When we think about the end of childhood, 18 or so, at some point, you kind of got to know what you're going to do with your life. You kind of got to know what path you want to take as far as a career or not a career, right? A stay-at-home parent or whatever. You got to figure that out. And starting at age 18 is really kind of sketchy and really kind of scary. There's so many kids that are leaving high school having no clue what they want to do when they grow up. And that's okay. But what if we could give kids opportunities to find things that they are passionate about because they've had all sorts of different experiences, in practical life skills, things that adults do. For example, in Life Skills Now Season 1, Pat Flynn did a great workshop on being a good podcaster. He basically taught kids the skill of interviewing well. And the kids were supposed to go off and take about 5 minutes and just find someone they knew, their grandma or their parent or their neighbor, and interview them for 5 minutes and record it on a phone. Super simple. And I remember one mom writing in and saying, gosh, I never would have expected this. We did not see this coming. But my kid, who again was like 8 or 10, my kid is really quite skilled and he seems to love it. He blossoms. He opens up. He is exuberant when he's doing these little interviews. Oh my goodness. Who knows? Who knows if that kid will become a podcaster or a TV anchor or, something where he gets to interview people. But what an amazing little talent and little gift to figure out at age 8 that he actually loves interviewing people and he can develop that skill, not as work, not as a taskmaster, but, in his play and in his being a kid, right? We had a workshop on kids, how to make your first dollar. And so many kids were so proud of themselves. They walked a dog or they had a lemonade stand or they sold something that they had made or an old toy they didn't need on Facebook Marketplace. They made their first dollar and that confidence went through the roof. They were so excited. How good does that feel? And again, it's a mindset thing. You're opening up their minds to the fact that you can make money in ways other than, punching a time card and getting a paycheck. How great is that? To build at a very young age. This year, we have another set of workshops that might introduce my kids and yours to something that could end up being their career. I actually teach a workshop on speaking, brain-based tips to make it memorable when you speak. I'm a 2-time TEDx speaker. I never thought that I would be a speaker as a career, but it's one piece of my career. We have an awesome gardening workshop on how to grow lavender, how to make things from it, exactly the kinds of stuff that your kids could sell right now at a farmer's market or on Etsy. Another gardening workshop is growing your garden from grocery store scraps. And I really could see that kids getting into gardening at a young age could become master gardeners as a career. And you know what? When Matt Smith of Paleo Valley teaches them how to use the McDonald's trick to make more money, this is a video on the art of the upsell, right? How when you sell one thing, you try to add another thing on so that you make more money from each customer. Your kids are going to be amazing entrepreneurs. We also have some really kind of hardcore skills. There are 2 different woodworking workshops, 3 workshops on auto maintenance, 3 workshops on bike maintenance, and how to paint a wall. Again, for kids who might be interested in the trades or just as like a side hustle in high school, incredible skills. Last year in season 2, we did haircuts, home electricals, flower arranging, homemade pasta and sauce, with a chef in a restaurant. And I'm telling you, all of this together, seasons 1, 2, and this new season 3 in 2024, these are skills that my kids would not be exposed to without the benefit of the Life Skills Now summer camp. And I hope your kids can also discover some things they never would have guessed they'd be interested in. So yes, the argument is kids just need to play. Yep, there's a lot of truth there. But let's take out the word just, because the counter argument is kids need to play, but they also need balance, and they need structure, responsibility, and the ability, the opportunity to figure out what they love, not just through play. Argument number 4 is one that I heard on a very well-respected podcast, very well-respected expert, best-selling author kind of person. I don't even want to share his name because this is not about throwing someone under the bus. But when I first heard him speak, when I first heard his idea, I was like, yeah, that's right. That's cool. And then I thought about it more. Here's the argument. The argument is, sometimes we parents work too hard. We've got to connect with our kids more. We got to quit focusing on just getting the dishes done and go climb a tree with your kids, right? And I say it, I feel that emotion swelling up in me. Yeah, I'm on that train. I can rally behind that message. Go climb the tree with your kids. And then I continued to ponder. I continued to think about what this podcast guest had said day in and day out. And I would be doing the dishes and thinking about that. And I'd be cleaning the toilet and thinking about that, or sweeping the floor, or making the dinner. I do that like every day, right? 7 times a week. Actually, I don't, because my husband cooks a few times and my daughter cooks once a week. Woohoo! But I was pondering that, and I thought, you know what? As much as that sounds like a rally cry and a banner I want to get behind, the obvious common sense counter argument is you cannot live from that philosophy every day. You can't, because if you always leave the dishes and go climb the tree, at a certain point, the dishes would pile up so high, you would have nothing to eat on. So the only way to actually practically do that all the time would be to use paper plates and hurt the earth and spend all your money on takeout and trash your health. It's not possible. Again, it comes down to balance. It's not possible to always leave the dishes and go climb the tree. So my counter argument is, yes, build that mindset of how do we look for the opportunities where we just really need to go climb the tree, right? Metaphorical tree, whether that's going to jump on the trampoline or going for a bike ride or sitting down with a kid who's having a hard day and just being present to them, or reading a book with a little one, or reading a book with a big one, right? We do need to have that mindset and that philosophy of looking for those opportunities and knowing that we do need to connect with our kids. And sometimes you got to just turn away from the vacuum cleaner or the dust rag or, the meal planning or whatever. But that cannot be reality day in and day out. It's just not practical. So my response is, hey, I teach kids to cook. I have taught my kids to cook so that after dinner stuff, like the falling action of dinner, right? Dishes, putting away leftovers, wiping down the counters, et cetera, et cetera. If there are 6 of us, because I have 4 kids, if there are 6 of us in our family all doing those tasks, the time is then compressed, which opens up more time to go climb the tree, right? Now, if you all do the work together, you can then all go together and climb that metaphorical tree or play that board game. Oh, I played Scrabble Junior last week after dinner. We ate dinner early enough. We got all those after dinner chores done. Played Scrabble Junior with the kids. I have not played that game, and I'm not even sure how long. It didn't even feel familiar. It was so delightful. It was so delightful. So I did. I climbed the metaphorical tree, but it wasn't because I left the dishes. It was because we teamworked on the dishes. Does that make sense? And I feel that when we teamwork, we recoup that time, we rediscover, we open up new chunks of time that wouldn't be there if only one person or the 2 grown-ups or whoever are doing all the jobs. Besides that, we know by experience that kids actually love to do things alongside their parents. If you think back, depending on the age of your kids, think back to when they were 2 or 3 or 4, right? Mama, can I help? Daddy, can I do that? They want to be near us and they don't mind doing the things we're doing or attempting, right? Or mimicking the things that we're doing. Why not take that intrinsic motivation and keep it rolling? Keep it rolling, right? We'll have workshops in this year's Life Skills Now summer camp season 2 on folding laundry as a family system for folding laundry, cleaning the bathrooms. It's not me teaching it. Rachel Norman's going to teach that one. Tidy Dad is teaching the family laundry system. Laura Fuentes of Momables is teaching how to pack lunch for kids, another one of those tasks that can be co-created or passed off to your kids so that they are more independent. And we have plenty of recipes from all new camp leaders who you did not meet last year. It's going to be so fun. I know we've got hard-boiled eggs, we've got salsa, pasta salad bar, we've got a gluten-free donut/cupcake recipe. We've got a 5-minute chocolate mousse. I mean, fun stuff. And meals too. We've got a chicken burrito bowl, I think just came in today. So many good things that we can do alongside our kids, with our kids, and then also have them do it while we are doing something else important, recoup that time and go climb a tree, right? So that's my counter argument. You can't always leave the dishes. Last one, number 5, again, very true, very ringing true. Well-intentioned parents and other grownups say, you know what, Katie, kids are just too busy. My kids, all the kids, everybody is way too busy with school and with sports or whatever else is in your schedule, right? Theater, dance class, right? My kids' schedules are packed. Academics have to be number 1, and they're too busy to learn these chores. They're too busy to do it. And you know what? My counterpoint is that kids are too busy with school and sports. Yeah, exactly. If we're only focusing on the academics and we're overfilling their schedules and kind of stressing them out, what are we teaching them about how we overfill our schedules, right? So maybe we need a little bit less sports. And you know what? The real counterpoint too is that life skills that we can teach them along the way will contribute to their academic success and will contribute to their sports success as well. For example, many life skills build executive functioning, that prefrontal cortex, and that is needed to improve your academic success. In this 2024 season of Life Skills Now, you'll hear from Kara Harvey, who teaches teens how to use Trello to plan out their projects and their week. And from Jessica Littman, who teaches a process she calls Plan, Do, Review, specifically for kids with neurodivergence, but any kids really, ages 8 and up, to help them get things done and get things done well. Y'all, these are executive functioning skills, and it's exactly what immediately translates to academic success. We've also got Melissa Griffin, HR mom, a hugely popular camp leader, back for her 3rd season. This year, she's teaching the parents and the kids sort of dual workshops, one for the parents, one for the kids, on ADHD and chores. She calls it how to trick your brain into doing things you don't want to do. Hello, again, immediate application in your kids' academic life. Plus, we've got a few more workshops on note-taking mastery and on designing and keeping up study zones that are clutter-free. Absolutely, academic success is hit right there. And you know what? When your kids are successful in school or in life, they have got to keep track of their finances. This year, Brad Jarrett is teaching kids about compound interest, teens really. And I love what he gives a little twist on this to apply the idea of compound interest, not just to your money, but to other choices you make in life. This is a good one. I host a panel of teenagers talking about tipping philosophy. This is a real mix of executive functioning, of thinking, planning ahead, philosophy, kindness, and finances. And my son, Paul, who edits all these videos, he was just hitting one in the finances track the other day on how to calculate your paycheck and like what deductions are taken out of a paycheck. And he said, this workshop is such a downer. It's such a bummer. He said, I don't want to hear this. And he said, but it is helpful. It's helpful to know the truth. It's just not fun to see what gets taken out of your paycheck. So this is the kind of, tangible life skills that kids really will need to go along with their high school diploma and their college degree. If you want your kids to do well in school and in sports, they need to know how to take care of their bodies and their minds. We have a track for that too. We have a wellness track. We've got a pediatric dietitian who's myth busting food. Her workshop's called Simplifying Eating in a Complicated World. We have 2 awesome workshops from Dr. Robin, a pediatric MD. Actually, she's a family practitioner and MD, teaching your kids sort of a science perspective on sleep and on blood sugar. And I'm telling you, what Dr. Robin has found is that when kids understand how the pieces fit together, like how all the wheels in the machine that we call our bodies work, they are more likely to take ownership of their health, which I don't know about you, but that is everything I want for my kids when it comes to their bodies. We've also got a really critical 2 set of workshops from a local physical therapist we filmed with on posture and on tech neck and how our kids can avoid literally a lifetime of pain in their necks, their shoulders, their backs by holding those screens properly and treating their spine properly. Here's the other thing. When we pack our kids' schedules, they need to understand stress management, which is why I invited Dr. Jihan, an integrative pediatrician, to teach an awesome workshop called No Need to Be Nervous, Tools to Feel Calm. I feel like I'm going to have my middle schooler watch this because he's pretty athletic and he really loves his sports. He will try anything. And this year he did diving for the first time and he got really good really fast, but he had trouble performing in front of the crowd. And in baseball, he's like, yeah, I'll try pitching. He's pretty good pitching at home. But pitching and batting in front of the crowd, he can articulate that his heart is beating faster and he's not able to think straight or perform. So I'm like, oh my gosh, he needs Dr. Jihan's strategies like many athletes do, the tools to feel calm under pressure. Also, totally sending all my kids through this one. Dr. Pedram Shohai does a morning Jedi training. So he's known as the urban monk. He was formerly a monk and does like Tai Chi and stuff. Now he is, he's a doctor, not an MD, but another kind of doctor and a dad of 2. And so he's going to teach kids 5 like exercises they can do each morning to get their brain in its best focus mode. So literally anything you want your kids to do, whatever, academics, sports, drama, you name it, that training is going to be incredibly helpful. The value in Life Skills Now Season 3 is humongous, enormous, gigantic. I feel like I'm listing, but I have not listed anywhere near all the 100 workshops we have to offer just in this season. And you know what is so cool? As long as you're listening to this before June 24th, 2024, the moment you register, you get 13 workshops to start right away. Like you don't even have to practice your patience, although I would say patience is a life skill. You get 3 brand new workshops from this year in season 3. One from me on good stewardship of our earth, what the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle, really mean for kids and how kids can make a difference in their family, no matter how old they are, even if they don't hold the checkbook, right? They can do good things for the earth in their families. The second one is for teens. It's on logical fallacies, how to see the mess of social media and pull it apart by using critical thinking. Amen to that. Thank you, Kathy Gibbons. And the third one is for really kids of all ages, probably toward the littler kids, from Tasha Score on how to pack a suitcase. Just a super simple task to give our kids some independence. So you get those 3 right away. You can use them all the way up until free camp week, plus 5 of our most popular workshops from season 1 and 5 of our most popular from season 2. That includes at least one for you grown-ups. If you feel like you're feeling a little pushback, either internally in yourself, from your kids, or from other adults in your life that are saying our kids don't need chores, our kids don't need these soft skills. Let's just like focus on the grades. Nope, not going to happen, right? Kids need responsibility. They need connection with their parents, which sometimes means doing what we do. They need to play, but they also need balance. Sometimes we got to leave the dishes and climb the tree, but sometimes we got to do the dishes together to create more space to climb the tree. And we've got to help our kids figure out what to do with their overpacked schedules. Whew! Life Skills Now, Season 3, my friends. Sign up for Free Camp Week, June 24th to 28th, 2024. You get over a dozen workshops to use right away. This is going to be an incredible event. Go right now to kidscookrealfood.com/life skills. Register the whole family. We've got workshops for ages 5 to 18, workshops for the grown-ups. Some of the grown-up workshops, tell you what to do with kids ages 0 to 4. So literally, no matter what age you are, Life Skills Now Summer Camp Season 3 has something for you. Go to kidscookrealfood.com/life skills. Get your family's name on the roster. And you know what? If you happen to be listening to this as a back episode and it is past June 2024, well, guess what? We still have all these workshops, okay? Go to that link. You'll still be able to figure out how to get there. You've just missed free camp week, but they're still there. I'm Katie Kimball, and I'm a huge proponent of teaching life skills to kids. I hope you are on board with me.